ABC 10 News at 7 starts now.
We are still waiting to find out why 25 people were stuffed inside an SUV that collided today with a big rig, killing 13 of them. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. That crash happened this morning in Imperial County, about 10 miles north of the border, just past El Centro. Our ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala joins us from the scene with what investigators have learned so far.
CHP officers on scene tell us there were only 2 seats in the Expedition right behind me that was carrying 25 people. Investigators have State Route 115 and Norris Road shut down as they continue to piece together what caused this crash to happen.
It would be premature of me to speculate on what happened at this collision. The important thing is that 13 people died in this crash.
Cross is placed down the road from where more than a dozen people lost their lives Tuesday morning. At about 6:15, for unknown reasons, California Highway Patrol officers say this maroon Ford Expedition carrying 25 people and this big rig hauling 2 trailers crashed at this intersection at Norris Road and State Route 115. CHP officers tell us the Expedition was westbound in the intersection as the big rig was headed northbound. CHP officers tell us the Expedition only had 2 seats total, the driver and front passenger. The impact of the crash so strong, 12 people in the Expedition were killed on scene, including the driver from Mexicali. Another passenger later died at the hospital. The survivors were taken to multiple hospitals around the area. CHP officers say the ages of the deceased and the survivors ranged from 15 to 53.
Some of the victims were ejected from the vehicle. There's some walking wounded that pulled themselves out of the vehicles. And then once the allied agencies and our CHP personnel arrived on scene, they were also pulling people from the vehicle as well. So it was a pretty chaotic scene.
The 69-year-old driver of the big rig survived but had moderate injuries and is being treated at a hospital. CHP officers could not tell us where the Expedition was coming from, but did say they found IDs on scene and were working with the Mexican consulate to possibly identify the victims. The investigation is still ongoing. Officers are working on identifying the victims and notifying their families. Reporting in Imperial County, Mimi Alcala, ABC 10 News.
At least 6 of the injured were taken to San Diego hospitals. In the meantime, a Navy sailor is dead. 5 others are hurt from a crash today on the I-5. The Navy says a convoy of 5 military trucks was headed from Ventura County to Camp Pendleton to pick up gear. Just before 7 o'clock this morning, one of the trucks slowed down for some reason, causing a chain reaction crash, and that backed up traffic for hours. The sailor's name will be released once their family is notified. The Navy says the 5 injuries are minor.
Turning now to coronavirus, the Petco Park Vaccination Superstation will reopen tomorrow. UCSD Health says that the site will resume limited operations tomorrow and Thursday. About 4,000 people are scheduled to get their second doses. The site has been shut down since Saturday because of a nationwide shortage of the Moderna vaccine. Operations beyond Thursday are dependent on vaccine availability. Local teachers are starting to get vaccinated as they prepare to head back to the classroom. But as ABC 10 News reporter Rachel Bianco explains, some teachers already back in the class for months say they're being placed at the end of the line.
There are roughly 80,000 teachers and school employees in San Diego County eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine, but the line isn't open to all of them just yet.
Who should get it first? Whoever's teaching in person.
Matthew SCHNECK has been teaching high school virtually for San Diego Unified. Still, he was able to get his first dose of the vaccine Saturday.
It's a little chaotic right now. I know there's teachers even teaching in person right now that really want the vaccine, of course, right? Like teachers in El Cajon or teachers up in Escondido. And if they're not considered quartile 4 schools, they can't get it yet.
SCHNECK School is located in quartile 4. This map gives you an idea of the county's 4 regions scored by the state's Healthy Places Index. The neighborhoods in dark blue are considered the most disadvantaged. Right now, teachers in quartiles 3 and 4 are eligible for the vaccine.
Health equity is an important value for the county, recognizing that not everybody is on equal footing.
Bob Mueller of the San Diego County Office of Education says prioritizing vaccines based on areas hardest hit by the virus makes the most sense.
It allows us to move forward with school opening in kind of an organized way instead of a few people here and there getting vaccinated.
20% of the county's doses are set aside for education workers. That's one of the reasons why employees must sign up through vibavaccinates.com and not on the county's website. SCHNECK says some of his colleagues learned that the hard way.
They're getting turned away because they didn't make the appointment correctly.
The county estimates roughly 70% of school staff want the vaccine now. How quickly they get it depends on supply. Rachel Bianco, ABC 10 News.
And San Diego County will remain in the purple tier for now. Today, Governor Gavin Newsom announced 7 California counties, including San Francisco and Santa Clara, will now move into the red tier, but not us. Our county must maintain a case rate of no more than 7 per 100,000 for 2 straight weeks to change tiers. As of today, we're at 10.8. Limited capacity indoor restaurants and gyms are allowed in the red tier. The county also reported another 376 COVID-19 cases. Our deaths today, our positivity rate, our test positivity rate remained at 4%. Here's the death count now. Another 14 people in San Diego County have lost their lives to coronavirus, bringing that total to over 3,300.
A San Diego company just got the green light to make a self-test for coronavirus that gives you results in minutes entirely at home. ABC 10 News anchor Derek Stahl goes in depth to explain how it works and why the Biden administration says this type of test is key to getting back to normal.
For months, people have been able to buy home collection tests where you swab yourself or spit into a vial and then mail the sample back to a lab. But this new test from San Diego-based Quidel is different. Quidel has been manufacturing the rapid tests used to screen athletes in the Pac-12 and Big Ten for the last few months. Now it has FDA authorization for the QuickVue at-home COVID-19 test. You swab yourself, then drop a test strip into a solution and get results on the spot in 10 minutes.
If we can test frequently at home, we can protect communities and we can make it safe for all of us to go back to restaurants and schools, etc.
At-home tests only started hitting the market this year, and they're not widely available. Quidel's is the 4th at-home test authorized by the FDA. Kind of a surprise when you consider we invented brand new vaccines in less time. Critics say the slower pace is partly because of the federal funding during the Trump administration. As of August last year, the National Institutes of Health had awarded $372 million to testing companies compared to $9 billion pledged to vaccine makers.
The country's well behind where we need to be in testing, particularly the rapid at-home tests that will allow us all to get back to normal activities like work and school.
The Biden administration says it'll help ramp up production of at-home tests with plans to make 61 million tests available by the end of the summer. These rapid antigen tests are less accurate than the slower PCR tests that require a lab. Quidel says their rapid tests line up with PCR results more than 96% of the time in people with symptoms. But in asymptomatic people, one study found it caught positive cases just 41% of the time.
The healthcare community understands that the accuracy may not be perfect, but if we have the ability to test frequently, that frequency of testing overcomes the lack of perfection in the test itself.
For now, the QuickVue at-home test will only be available with a doctor's prescription to people with symptoms, but the company is hoping to get an over-the-counter authorization soon. Quidel is ramping up production of these tests with the help of a brand new manufacturing facility in Carlsbad. By the end of this year, they plan to produce 50 million QuickVue rapid tests each month. Derek Stahl, ABC 10 News.
Insurance will cover the cost of an at-home test if it's ordered by a licensed healthcare professional. But if you pick one up at a drugstore without a doctor involved, insurance likely will not pay for it. Quidel hasn't set their price yet, but the other home tests range from $25 to $50. You can stay on top of any new developments with coronavirus by downloading the 10 News app. A free version is available in the App Store.
All right, turning now to our weather and a live look outside. It is dry tonight, but get ready for a big change coming up tomorrow. Melissa Macia is in for Angelica with a look at the rain that's on the way. Mel.
And Steve, it is going to stay dry in the overnight hours, even for the early morning commute if you do have to drive to work. And then things are going to start to change as we take a look at our rain futurecast and the accumulation. So by the lunch hour, we're looking at anywhere between 1/4 of an inch to about 1/2 an inch in our more populated areas. The desert, not expecting as much rain with this storm. When all is said and done, we're looking at close to an inch along the coast and valleys, even potentially a little bit more in our mountains. Now, we're not only dealing with the rain, but also the wind. It's going to get quite gusty tomorrow throughout most of the day. No official advisories in place, but do watch out for the windy conditions, the wet conditions, and we're even talking about snow in our higher elevations. There is an advisory in place starting tomorrow afternoon. I'll let you know about that coming up in our full weather forecast.
Melissa, thank you. All right, we now know the name of the man shot after pulling a knife on a police officer downtown. The officer was flagged down last Thursday when 69-year-old Stephen Wilson started causing a disturbance on 3rd and G. Police say Wilson drew a knife while talking with the officer and ignored orders not to touch it. That's when Officer Kelly Besker shot Wilson, who was in the hospital in stable condition. The shooting is now under investigation.